Shelby Mahurin's latest book, The Scarlet Veil, in stores now. The Indiana native is also on a book tour and coming to Anderson's Bookshop on September 27th. I got my copy right here. Thank you so much for your time today, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you.
Talk a little bit about this book tour, Q&A, meeting fans. What's going to be going on? Because you're going all across the nation.
Right, it's a national tour. So in Chicago at Anderson's, I'll be with Rena Barron. She's a fellow author. We'll be doing a little conversation where she will ask me questions, and then we'll open it up to the audience if they have any questions to ask either one of us, and then there will be a signing. And that is the format of most of the tour stops this week.
Awesome. I saw you were trying to pack 10 days worth of clothes, like all into one carry-on. Did you mission accomplished or not?
No, well, so I haven't finished yet. I have all kinds of people telling me it is indeed possible and like sending me packing lists and things. So I'm really gonna try. It's hard with a tour because you have to have like your like tour outfits and then like your plane outfits, you know? So it's really like double what you would need. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I really am gonna try.
Well, there's some great shopping in the Chicago area, so if you don't get everything, then you can probably, get whatever else you might need. New role for Staley. Talk a little bit about what's going on with her, what we're going to see in the beginning of this book.
Right. So Staley is the world's first huntswoman. They're typically all men. So she really feels like she has something to prove in this book. And she proves it by investigating a string of magical murders in Cesarine, all of their bodies drained of blood, which we know what that means, but they don't know what that means yet. She follows the investigation to the heart of a vampire lair, where she attracts the attention of its cruel yet beautiful king, who has plans of his own for Staley.
In the Serpent and the Dove series, this is a character death, and that was something that you wanted to bring back for this book. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, so there is a character death in the Serpent and Dove series. It's actually at the end of the second book. And it is like the most asked question that I get is about that character and whether we'll see them again. And I can answer definitively, we will not. That character has been through the ringer, and they are at peace. So they don't have to deal with the shenanigans in the Scarlet Veil and in the Scarlet Veil 2. I can understand why the question would come up though, because there is a little bit of like necromancy in the Scarlet Veil. So I understand why people hope, but the character who dies does not come back. They get to, live afterlife in peace.
There you go. You have the definitive answer from Shelby right there. How difficult is it to write a new book? Because you're so active on social media, and I'm sure you probably get DMs and questions all the time where you might have a story in your head of like, here's the path I want to go, but then people start tossing out different ideas or different questions. Like, how hard is it like during that writing process for you?
Really difficult. So if you talk to any author, they will all say you need to finish the book that you're writing, like the sequel before the first book is published, because you are going to start getting reviews in and opinions and questions and reactions, and it's really hard not to let that into your headspace. And I can now say it is actually very difficult not to let other voices into your head as you're trying to write. The problem with that is that the story can get really muddled if you start letting a lot of like cooks in the kitchen, essentially, and it suffers for it. So as hard as it is, you really have to kind of stay true to the vision that you have for the story, and see it to its conclusion. That's not to say that, if there's something problematic in the first book that you can't address it, if you get reactions, like responses like that. But just in terms of like the character death that I chose to do, like I did get a lot of, why did you do that? You've broken my heart, but it's like, that's what the story needed. I'm so sorry.
That's when you gotta turn your DMs off at that point, like, let me finish writing this book and then, yeah.
I do have to, I get to usually when I get to the middle of drafting the next book, I have to be like, all right, I can't be on social media anymore. Like I'll be back in a few months to respond to all of this.
As far as like what you get like Staley and what's going to take place, or like Bo and Coco, like what is like the number one thing that's always coming up on your messages?
Oh, I get a ton of stuff about Bo and Coco. Literally, like if you go to look at even my posts, people are like, "Can we get a Bo and Coco book?" So I get twice the messages about it. Yeah, I get that one, and then the character death a lot. And then another one I get, which is interesting, is like, what happens with Lou and Reed? Do they have kids? And I'm like, you guys, this is a young adult book. Characters are like 19. So like, yeah, they'll probably have kids like way in the future, but not right now. They're still kids themselves right now. That's not to say I don't understand, the readers' desires to see the characters settled and like they're happily ever after. It's just I have to tell them like, not yet. In the future, not yet.
They gotta wait your turn. I also love how you talk about growing up in the Terre Haute area and your imagination and the things that that you would envision. Talk a little bit about that, and maybe because I think there's so many electronics now that maybe you try to get kids to use their imaginations, but probably in a time where those weren't as prevalent, it's easier to kind of imagine these worlds.
Right. No, I did. I grew up in an extremely rural area. My family are farmers, right? My dad, my brothers, my grandfather, great grandfather. It's like a family farm. So I grew up around cornfields, cows, and we didn't have the technology. So my parents would just be like, go outside and play. And so I did. I'd have like my stick that would be like a wand, and my friends and I would like tear up grass to make potions and stuff. So we were real weirdos, but it was fine. It was fun. And it did lend itself to me developing quite an active imagination, which has helped write all of these books. I've been doing it since I was like 6. So
that is amazing. Congratulations to you. And then final thing here, someone starts on Scarlet Veil. Should they go back to the Serpent and Dove series, or can they start here and then go back?
Yeah, so you don't have to read the original trilogy to read the Scarlet Veil. I would caution that if you want to read the original trilogy, if you plan to do it first, because the Scarlet Veil will spoil what happens in the original trilogy. But if you don't want to read the original trilogy, you can absolutely just pick it up and read it separately.
Awesome. Well, Shelby, thank you so much for your time today. Scarlet Veil in stores now, and then of course coming to Anderson's Bookshop on September 27th. Get those tickets now. Q&A, meet and greet. It's going to be a wonderful time, and enjoy your time here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.